Where's my window?
Hey everyone, we're going to be getting started here in a few moments. We've got several dozen people registered, so I want to give everyone a chance to kind of pop in since we're just at the top of the hour. But while we wait, feel free to jump into the chat, say hi, let us know where in Central Florida you're coming from. We're always happy to see where people are at in our chapter. And then also you will see a Q&A box as we go through content, please put your questions in there. They get lost in the general chat if you put them in there, and I don't want to see anything get lost. But feel free to do that. And then this will be recorded. So if you have to drop off after 15 minutes, I hope you don't, but we'll send this out later on to anybody who wasn't able to attend live. I love all of it. We got villages in the house, East Orlando. I'm down in Four Corners. So anybody down in this area, you're in my neighborhood, Daytona Beach, Windermere, Lakeland, closer to my home, Champions Gate. I'm sorry about your traffic. Hi,
Da-
Diane. Although I say Champions Gate traffic, really all of Orlando traffic, but that's where we choose to live.
Another Lakeland.
Yeah. Orlando, but usually Mount Dora. Two very different destinations that you could live in.
Hi, you guys.
Hey, welcome.
I'm in an office of one of my wonderful travel advisors. So,
I hope she's on another call or on the call somewhere else.
yeah, they're doing a training event right now. So, but I was happy I could do this.
Yeah. All right, Tony, I'll let you take it away, kick it off.
All right. Me. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Tony Danicola. I am your chapter president. Today we're going to be going through a lot of updates and stuff that we have with the chapter and get you guys caught up to date. So before we get started, I want to introduce you to our board for those who haven't been here over the last few months when we've gotten some new board members. There's myself. There's Katie Matson. She is our vice president and treasurer for the time being. We are looking for another treasurer, somebody to take some load off of her. So if somebody is interested in that, let us know. Amy Matson is our secretary. And then Scott here is our YPS chair and our tech guru today. Um, Board members also, we have Jean Pog, um, Cindy Price, Rebecca St. Martin. They are all at-large board members. And then Diane Haran, she is our AMA Waterways representative. For those who are following ASTA HQ, there have been a few board changes past month. Michael Shoddy is no longer with ASTA. Pam Bonin, she's been appointed the Senior Director of Member Care and Services. Jackie Miller has been appointed the Director of Membership, Sales, and Engagement. And Margot Van Ness has been promoted to Senior Director and Marketing and Communications. So we're going to do a little recap now of some of the events that we've had going on this year. We'll start off with Scott, who's going to tell us a little bit about the Anchorage fam that we've done.
Yeah, so one of the exciting things that we are working to bring to chapter is FAMs that are specific to ASTA members. So you have to be an active ASTA member in good standing, which the first one that we did this year was the Anchorage FAM, which in March sounds like a really weird place for Floridians to go. But it was absolutely fantastic. As you can see, we're all bundled up. It really wasn't as cold as what we thought it was most of the time, except for the time we were out sledding with the dogs. But in those cases, they gave us all the parkas and layers, and I literally looked like the kid off of the Christmas Story. So that was fun to walk around as. But we did a lot of things. We went up, did flight scene around Mount Denali, which we had route to tip all the way for the entire stay. So we saw the entire beauty of the mountain, which is very rare. Northern Lights at one point for most of us. the Alaska Railroad heading up north, and then we got to stay in the lodge out there as well. And then down to the Wilderness Wildlife Refuge, which there's a lot of great things that they're doing down there, kind of like what we have at Animal Kingdom, a lot of help for the animals and figuring out research and things like that. So they have a lot of unpaid interns that literally live above the animals. Fun fact. So if you love animals, it's a good place to intern.
Great. All right. I'll take the next one. Next one with Margaritaville at Sea. We did this ship tour or FAM this year. This was a great opportunity to get some advisors on board. We started out with 20 rooms that we could fill, and then they gave us another 20 rooms. I think by the end we had 34 agents that showed up for the cruise. It was May 4th to 9th. The cruise went to out of Tampa on the Islander. We went to Cozumel and Progreso. Uh, both of those were great stops that we did. They had training the second day on the ship for about 2 or 3 hours and showed us a couple of staterooms that were out there. Didn't really get to do much of a tour of the open areas on the ship, the public areas, but we did do a ship tour earlier this year where we got on there and they showed us all the common areas. But it was a great tour, great fam. What else? Got to
Tony, I have a
experience.
question for you for our members. What
Yes.
surprised you the most about Margaritaville at Sea as a cruise line? Because as you know, they're a new cruise line. They're still getting their feet wet in the industry. What was most surprising to you about your experience aboard?
Um, well, I'll start by saying I didn't have very high expectations of the cruise. When Margaritaville first came out, they had a lot of bad publicity, a lot of bad reviews in their cruise line. Margaritaville corporate finally came in and said, "Hey, you guys aren't running this right. We're going to take it and give it to this other company to run." And they've done a great job at building that up. The image is a lot better, I think, than what it was originally from what I'm seeing. There's still a long ways to go with it. They are still in their early ages. Just like when MSC first started out, they had no clue what they were doing. And as time's going on, they're getting a little better with what they're doing. Margaritaville, probably after a year of doing this, they're probably where MSC was after 5 years of doing theirs. So they still have a ways to go, but the ship is beautiful. Love the ship. They did a great job doing that. It's not a new ship, it's a Costa ship, I think, that they bought. Um, and they're still getting a lot of things figured out. One of the things when I went down to the casino, I got a casino card that can only be used on that ship. If I want to use it on any of the other ships, can't do it. They told me when Beachcomber comes out, then that card will work on all three ships. So they're working on getting their infrastructure and everything still together. But it's definitely worth a try checking it out, seeing where they're going with it, and giving them a shot. I think probably in another 6 months, another year, it's going to be a completely different cruise line than what it was when we were on there.
Oh, looking forward to great things. Margaritaville,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna change in 6 months. We're gonna have to organize another fam just to test it out again.
right? Maybe on their new ship, Beachcomber.
I
Yes.
sharing some information from our HQ. They Margaritaville has become one of our preferred suppliers with Dream Vacations, and the statistics show that the actual per diem that you can earn on a Margaritaville cruise is higher than many others. So it's definitely something to keep in the mix. And for those people looking for those little getaways, it is a good opportunity, I think, close to home, you know?
Yeah. The one thing I will say is if you're booking clients on here and they have any special food allergies or something like that, double, triple, quadruple confirm everything with the cruise line. We did have a couple of people on our fam who had food allergies and the restaurant knew nothing about it, even though that was part of what we submitted when we set up the fam. So just make sure that you confirm everything with them and make sure everything is written down and somewhere where people are going to see it. So, moving on, we have Star of the Seas. Katie, I think you were going to talk about this
Yep,
fan.
yep. So yeah, about 2 weeks ago, we hosted a large group aboard Star of the Seas with our travel partners from Royal Caribbean. If you're not familiar, Star of the Seas is the newest Icon class ship with Royal Caribbean. It is the currently the biggest cruise ship in the world, and our agents, our members had an opportunity to tour the ship. We got to check out all the great public spaces, have lunch in the Windjammer Cafe. We got to tour a handful of staterooms, and it was kind of neat to see how all of those different room categories were just a little bit different. But if you've never, a lot of the people participating had never been aboard an Icon class ship, so it was kind of an eye opener for them. And so there's some really great things aboard these giant mega ships, really geared for families. Oh, one of the things that was a highlight for me, we got to check out the Coastal Kitchen, which is the suite restaurant and the suite lounge. And they also, on this class of ship, they have a special buffet just for the suite guests as well. So it was a really great opportunity for us to see a ship, and yeah, keep your eyes out for future ship tours.
Maybe we could put together a fam for this as well.
That would be super cool if we could.
Mhm.
That would be
I'm gonna turn
super.
this back over to Scott to talk about the supplier spotlights.
Yeah, so most of you have probably been in some of our supplier spotlights as a webinar series. They've We've been doing it just over a year now. Usually they're 30 minutes for what we do this year. And then last year, I think we're up to an hour. But that 30 minutes seems to be a really good sweet spot. We've had a lot of really great partners come in and present, which everything that we have is on our YouTube channel. So if you need it, I believe that QR code goes to YouTube. So do that. Make sure you subscribe. Like this video will get posted to YouTube. So if you don't get to watch it live, you watch it on the recording. So you already know where YouTube's at. But we will be resuming Spire Spotlights after the summer, once we get through all the hectic stuff of this year. And so look forward to those, and I hope to see you all in future sessions.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about ASTA and what it's doing right now. I know there are lots of members who belong to ASTA and like, why am I a member? What is ASTA actually doing for me? So I'm going to talk about a couple of things that they've been working on this year and last year, starting with the hotel commission issue. A lot of people have hotels that they haven't gotten paid on. It's a problem in the industry, and I don't think any chains that are not affected by that. ASTA created a website, there's a QR code here and a link on the bottom, where you could go if you have not received payment from your hotels within, I think they say 45 days past when the client returned. They have a form you fill out, and they will go and try and get that commission for you from the hotel. I think they've recovered over $100,000 in commissions since they launched this last year, and they launched in the last quarter last year. So it really hasn't been around a long time yet, and they've gotten a lot of commissions paid for their client for ASTA members who aren't getting their commissions.
And if they can't get the commission, they put them on a watch list,
Yes.
which is public information because I've had one where they couldn't get anything. So that's on the watch list so people know not to book them anymore.
Some other things that they've done or that they're working on right now, we have the Flight Refund Fairness Act. Some of you might have heard where the government passed the bill saying, or is trying to pass a bill saying that if a flight gets canceled, for instance, you as a travel advisor, if you had booked them, you are the agent of record. You have 7 days to refund the client their money. And then the airline has to refund you the money within a reasonable amount of time. Not necessarily 7 days, but a reasonable amount of time. What's reasonable? That could be 6 months, a year from now. So you're responsible for paying the client back, and then the airline, whenever they get to it, they pay you back. ASA's gone, and they've had some of the wording rewritten in there to give the airline 7 days to pay the agent, and then the agent has 7 days from then to pay the client. Um, Most of you who are, especially if you're working under a hosted environment, you might not work directly with collecting money from the customers for the airline, so it doesn't apply to you in this matter. But if you collect the money, if you're processing it, this is a much better way of doing it where the airline pays you back within 7 days and then you have 7 days. So you're not putting money out of your pocket that you've paid to the airline and they're just sitting on. Aviation Consumer Protection Advisory Committee. It makes sense that when the government's out there and they're making decisions on airlines and stuff like that, that there should be somebody representing the travel industry on there, not just the airlines. ASTA's fought to get somebody to represent us as agents onto that advisory committee. That's huge. That gives us a much larger say when they're passing bills and stuff like that that pertain to airlines and flights, stuff like that. So that was a big win this year. State sales tax. This doesn't really apply to us here in Florida, but Nebraska and Virginia, the states tried to say, we need money, so we're going to start taxing non-essential businesses. And hey, travel industry, you're a non-essential, so we're going to start charging you a sales tax. ASTA gone to there and they're looking, the bill hasn't passed yet. Everything has stalled out this year, so it won't be revisited probably till next year. But ASTA's gotten in front of them and said, hey, travel is essential. And the lawmakers are looking at it and saying, yes, you're right. After what ASTA presented, talk to them, the lobbying that they're doing, Nebraska and Virginia probably will not fall under that non-essential umbrella. Maryland started to do a seller travel and an E&O program where they're requiring all agents to do seller travel and they have to have E&O insurance. ASTA fought that as well. That bill has died in the Senate, never got passed. So that's something that they've won on that for this year. And then Hawaii, they have not really been very friendly to agents for travel insurance with the limited lines insurance registration or training that you have to have. This year, ASTA went and was able to get them to be more in line with what the other 39 states that let travel agents offer travel insurance are doing. So you don't need to have that special license in Hawaii anymore in order to sell the travel insurance. So I know a lot of this doesn't affect us directly here with these last three, but it goes to show this is the type of thing that ASTA is doing around the country for other agencies. And if things do happen here in Florida, they're going to be there to help us be represented and get what's best for the travel advisor.
And Tony, I want to add to that too. And I remember during COVID, there was a lot of times that HQ ASTA reached out to us to do grassroots campaigning and efforts, like to write a letter to our senator.
Yes.
So if you ever see those come from ASTA, highly recommend do it. I mean, they give you the form letter, but you have to put in your email, your address, or whatever. But then basically we're as a community, it's like, and how this affects you. So you add your little blurb to the letter, but it just shows the more that we can get behind what they're doing for us as members, the more power they're going to have when they're talking to legislators and senators and et cetera. So please keep that in mind. If you ever see that come through your inbox, read it and do what they ask. It takes 5 minutes. So it does help them, helps us.
All right. And another thing that we could do is every year there's Legislative Day where they're looking for advisors to go to Washington, D.C. and represent the travel industry, talk to the congressmen, senators. They go up there, they give you a day of training, and they take you out there and you get to talk to the lawmakers. Florida is probably one of the only two or three where we actually meet our quota of members to have up there. And there was a waiting list of people who wanted to go, but they already had enough people from Florida that we didn't need other people going. Other states, not so much, but Florida, we're very well represented at legislative days.
And
Which
Diane's gone to that a few times. Diane, I don't know if you can pop in. You're muted right now. She's trying to unmute. Yeah. No, well, Diane has gone and she has gone a few times. And I know when she comes on, she'll tell us she just speaks so highly of that opportunity and that experience. Oh, she's on now.
I think I'm on, but I couldn't
Yeah.
see you. Like I said, I'm not in my office, so things are going in and out here. Yes, I would love to talk about Ledge Day because I love Ledge Day. It's so important. And this year I got to go and I was on the California contingent because my company's located in California. The Florida contingent, which is really good to always see, is always full, which is great, but we always need representation from our chapter. But to me, it's the most powerful thing that you can do to really have an actual effect on change in our industry. And they really listen. And when we get the opportunity to sit down with either the senators, the House of Representative legislators, or even if it's just their, in-office staff, it doesn't matter. It always gets followed through on. And over the years, I've been doing this for several years now, Amy, and I've seen the bills that we have lobbied on undoubtedly always eventually are passed. And it's because of that grassroots effort. So I'd love it if we have a lot more people from our chapter involved next year, if it's possible, because it's where you really feel like you've really contributed. You've really made a difference in the industry that we love. So I highly recommend it. And the bills, by the way, that we're lobbying for are doing really well. I couldn't hear what you were saying, Tony, at the end, if that was you or Scott, because my computer was flipping. I was trying to get back on.
Okay. We're talking basically
But
about
I
some
don't
of
know
the,
if ASTA had given you a update on it, on the Modernization Act. But it's my understanding that those bills that we did lobby for did receive the sponsorships that were necessary, and that's what we wanted. So then
yes.
they'll follow through and they'll continue on.
Yeah.
And Tony,
Real exciting
before
stuff
you
going on.
continue on, Maryland did actually pass the SOT stuff.
Okay.
However, ASTA is still trying to get clarification on a lot of things because there's a lot of ambiguity with how it's written. And so ASTA is pushing them to give us guidance on what's actually required, how they're going to enforce it, if the E&O stuff is aggregate versus per use limits, how ICs are handled versus agency levels and things like that. So stay tuned for your emails from ASTA. Hopefully we'll get some good clarification and ASTA will let us all know what we need to know.
Yeah. All right. Somehow my slides got a little out of order here. This next one, this was supposed to be going with the hotel one. If you had a hotel you needed to report, that's the link that you could use. And now I'm back on track. AstaPack, this QR code over here, you could scan that to make a donation to AstaPack. If you donate personal funds, ASTA will take that and use that to help pay for the lobbying, for the people representing us in Washington, D.C. If you're using business funds, those cannot be used for political expenses. Those are going to be more for overhead, office things that they need to pursue this, to pursue any of the things that we're fighting for, like those folders that they have in their hands in the picture. Those would be types of things that are considered overhead. Flights to get people to Washington, all that. Right now, to date, we have raised $6,668.65 for Central Florida. We're hoping that we'll hit about 10,000 by the end of the year. So anybody that wants to scan that code, make a donation, would love to see your name on the leaderboard. All right. I'm going to turn this back over to Scott now. Talked about the YPS.
Yes, so YPS, Young Professional Society. This is a group of those of us that are 45 years and younger. Specifically, it's a place to help us grow, helping the people that are just coming into the industry for their first careers, kind of get their footing. So the future is bright for ASTA because at some point somebody's going to retire and we need to be able to step into their roles. Just like Tony did from Kyle, we need to have that plan ready to go. And YPS helps us as an industry overall, making sure that people are ready to go from just being an agent to an agency admin to an owner, working with the different trade support, working with suppliers, because I'm sure Diane's going to want to retire at some point. And so we need people that are ready to step into that role, that know the industry, that know everything. So that's really what the YPS goals is. Now at the chapter level, we do activities. So like that's kind of what the original webinar plans were. We're doing webinars with education, webinars with suppliers. But because we didn't know who was really YPS, we opened it up to everyone. So to help us know who is YPS, in your ASTA profile, please add your date of birth. That is how we will know if you are part of YPS, so we can include you in communications. It wasn't required up until last year, so this is why we have a big black hole of membership here. So it's really kind of just voluntarily telling us if you're a member, but that date of birth will really allow us to target you, let you know that you're a part of this, to help bring you in and get you some engaging activities, which I'm launching a quick poll here. If you all would fill this out to give me an idea of what you're looking for YPS. And if you're not a YPSer, there's an option for you to select as well. Also, for those that say other, I would love to hear your ideas in chat. If you are got an idea of what we could do, put those in the chat. But I'll let that run for a couple of minutes while I ramble on here. The YPS chair seat, which is what I meet with other YPS chairs every couple of months so we can kind of talk through the hurdles that YPS in general is. And so as you're going through and thinking about what kind of problems you have, like if you're telling me that you want to do webinars or something, feel free to send me an email, scott@rainbowgetaways.net, so that you can let me know what ideas you have for webinars or put them in the chat. If you're not on any mailing list for YPS, also just send me an email and we can make sure that we get you included on that as well.
Scott, what is the age on that? So I don't know if everybody out in the audience knows.
It is 45 years or younger.
Okay.
Hey, Scott. I am 36 for my 20th time running. Can I join?
No. I only respect the first time.
And I still feel like I'm 45. Does that count? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, if you got the energy of a 45-year-old, sure.
I definitely
I'll take
do.
some of that energy. Some days I'm tired. I don't know how everyone does it. Well, thank you all for answering the poll. We'll go ahead and close that out. I appreciate that. Amy, thank you for adding my email to the chat. But we hopefully will get some more activities planned out. Also, we did run that survey a few months ago, asking what people's opinions are and all that. So we'll take that information too as we are looking at things. Thanks, Tony.
Awesome. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the 2026 Travel Advisor Conference. So I went to this last month. It was May 27th to 29th at the Gaylord Palms in San Diego. Gorgeous hotel is brand new. They only been open a few months, I think, or maybe 6 months or so before we had our event there. Unfortunately, it was 2 weeks after Travel Leaders, so I think that affected the attendance at the event. But we still had a very good turnout. The first day there, we had our president's meeting where the presidents of all the chapters met. We talked about different challenges each of the chapters was having, different thoughts and ideas of what chapters are doing that other chapters can implement. One idea I really loved is I've always, whenever we've done door prizes, they've been open to everybody. Talking to some of the chapters and what they're doing. When we do events and we're doing door prizes, I think they're going to be limited just to ASTA members from now on. And you guys need to have some benefits that you get with your membership. People who are just coming as a guest shouldn't receive those. So we're trying to get more benefits put together for our advisors so that they could see the value of the membership. So we're going to be doing things like that. Some of the ideas that came up in there, different ideas on events that other chapters are doing. So we're going to talk about some of that in the future, implementing some different types of things to make our chapter shine even more. There were a bunch of educational classes. They covered everything from social media marketing to growing your business, finances. They had classes for people who were brand new in the industry, all the way up to people who had been here for 20, 30 years. So it was very educational, had a lot to do in there. They had the trade show one day where you go in, meet with 200 and like 200 plus suppliers were in the trade show room. So that was available. They had roundtable sessions where you could sign up for that and actually sit in front of, I think it was 50 suppliers that went around to the tables talking to the advisors during those sessions. So they had that. Then we had the advocacy dinner. That was an awesome event. It was a black tie event. Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, and Carnival each donated $100,000 to ASTA Pack that night. Most of the chapters got up there and we donated between $5,000 and $25,000 per chapter that had the funds to do it. So they probably raised over $500,000 for ASTA Pack that night. So it was an amazing event. They talked about the different things that they're lobbying for, like I covered it a few minutes ago. So they talked about all that. They talked about things that are coming. Definitely, if you can go to Travel Advisor Conference, I definitely recommend doing it. But I'm also going to give Katie and Amy a chance here to tell you a little bit about their experiences in the past. So, Katie, do you want to unmute and go first?
Oh, sure. So coming into the travel agency, this is several years ago now, I had learned early in my previous career, I also work in technology, but getting involved with the like industry community and the trade community was always a pathway for success. So when I became a travel advisor, I looked for, the trade associations where I could get support from fellow agents and increase my industry acumen. That the first year I was a travel agent, I received a scholarship to attend the Travel Advisor Conference. I think it was in San Francisco that year. And it was eye-opening for me because I was a new agent, didn't know much about the industry at that time, even though I've been a worldwide traveler my whole life. But, being in the industry is often a little bit different. But I was able to make connections with our board members for our chapter at that time and get involved in ASTA and learn more about the organization and learn more to support my small business and to support my travel business. And over the years, my business has grown, my industry skills have grown, and ASTA has been such a valuable asset to me as a travel advisor. So, attending the conference was, I think, a key part of me getting started in the industry. What was your experience, Amy?
Well, I'm going to flip the coin. I was a very experienced agent. I've been in the business now 24 years. So I actually joined ASTA kind of during COVID when I saw how much they were fighting for our industry. I'm like, they are the ones they're there. I mean, I've been a CLIA member forever, and I'm still a CLIA member, but I really saw what ASTA was doing. And so it was my first opportunity. And they had the conference right after I signed up for my membership. They had the conference and it was happening in Chicago. And it was still just right after that when we can start to travel a little bit with COVID. And I said, I think it's a really good opportunity for me. And I was blown away. Now, I have been to tons of conferences, Cruise 360, supplier, webinars, my own dream vacations conferences that are fabulous. But I was blown away by the variety and amount of suppliers that were there. I made connections with people that I like river cruise lines. I'm a river cruise specialist and I didn't even know like at the time Amadeus existed and I met Amadeus and I got to go on that meeting. I was invited to a FAM 2 months later and I was able to make it. But I mean, those are the kind of connections and surprise meetings and wow moments. Plus the educational seminars were good. It was just an incredible experience. And I came back talking about it because like I said, I've been to tons of conferences, but this one, it's super valuable. The amount of connections you can make. And again, I had a lot of new opportunities, new suppliers. I met some great other advisors, people from our chapter. It was just a lot of fun and super educational. So I highly recommend if you could put that in your budget for next year. And really, we have no excuse because it's right here in our hometown. So let's show up strong from our Central Florida chapter next year. Let's be there for that. I mean, it's May, it's Orlando. We don't have far to go. Let's make it happen.
It's in our backyard.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that we've talked a bit about this year's, let's jump in and talk about next year's event coming to Orlando. So it's going to be May 4th to 6th next year. I would love to see all our members participate in it. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us to grow our chapter with all the Florida agents that are going to be there. So ASTA typically doesn't include the local chapters when they work on the Travel Advisor Conference. Like when I was at San Diego, I did not see them represented or do anything at the conference until the dinner, the advocacy dinner, where they got up and spoke for a couple of minutes because they made a huge donation. That's the only reason I think they got to speak then. But they really didn't have anything to do with the conference itself, which I think is poor planning on ASTA's part. If you're going to have a conference in a hometown and you have a chapter there, and you're going to have all these people coming to the conference that are not part of ASTA but coming there because it's local, you should have your local chapter represented to talk to these people, to bring them into the chapter, show them why they should join. Because ASTA can only show them what they're going to get on the national level. Talking to the local representatives, the people from our chapter, is going to show them the benefits of belonging to Central Florida chapter. So before the conference was ended, I talked to Pam Bonin over there, told her that we definitely want to do something. We want to have a presence at the chapter next year, even if it's just like a hospitality suite or something. There needs to be something there saying, hey, all you people who are visiting from Central Florida, come talk to us, learn what we're about, not just ASTA on a whole, but our local chapter. So I'm supposed to have a call with them in a couple of weeks, start the planning and seeing what we can do as a chapter to help them out with that. In addition to that, like I said, would love to see as many of our members there as we can. Right now, they're doing early bird, which is $100 off the registration fee. That goes until June 15th. So if you want to save $100, register between now and then. We also have a Central Florida discount code for ASTA members. It's Florida 20. It'll save you an additional 20%. I think that is $84 right now on top of the $100 early bird special. So that brings your total, I think it would be $342 to go to the event next year if you register before June 15th and use that discount code.
Yeah,
So
and yep, I'm sorry. Finish, Tony, and I had something to add.
yeah, so we'd definitely love to see people there. If you still cannot afford that, definitely reach out to us. We're going to try and do some scholarships this year. Might have opportunities to send an agent or two additionally to the conference. So talk to us, see what we can do. Like I said, I want to see as many of our people there as we can, and I don't want to see people miss out because of the cost. We don't have a lot of big conferences here in Orlando. Fort Lauderdale is where Cruise World, Cruise 360 is. That's where the big conferences that a lot of people go to. So for this to be in our backyard, it's something that is definitely worth it for everybody to go to.
Yeah, and I'm seeing some questions, Tony, in the Q&A pertaining to cost. Why is it so expensive to attend the conference? And why is there not more included? So there are some inclusions, that there are coffee breaks that are included. You get all that educational content is included. You get access to industry professionals that you wouldn't. Conferences, it's extreme. There's a lot of overhead in running a conference just as a general thing. So Yeah, that's sort of a downside of conferences, but that's part of why our board has gotten together and we've put together a scholarship program. Maybe we can help award you one and make it a little bit less for you to travel.
Yeah, and to give you an idea on the cost, the conference I did in San Diego, the hotel rooms there alone cost between $300 and $400 a night. And that was at the conference center. So imagine if they're charging the guests that much, how much are they charging the organization to use 2 floors of a conference hall, all those rooms, the electric, the Wi-Fi, all that.
Yeah,
It,
AV
it
support.
adds up really fast.
Yeah, and for as large as the conference is, how many advisors did they have at the conference this year, Tony? So like 1,500 or something? I mean, it is a staggeringly large amount of people assembled for this event.
Yeah, it was huge. And I mean, next year's even going to be bigger because we're not going to be competing against travel leaders and well, we're going to have everybody locally going to it. Now, I'm going to talk some numbers later on too about the number of travel advisors in the area and all that. So, but definitely, yes, if you can go, the dates are available, don't let the price tag scare you. Talk to us. Let's see if there's something we can do to help with that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of our recent updates. Lunch and Learns. Scott, did you want to talk about this or you want me to just take it?
Uh, I mean, Lunch and Learns, chapter events. This includes the supplier webinars. Like we're always trying to do things for the chapter to give you value, help you bring education, help you stay connected. Because it's always better when we are knowing who our peers are in the area because we can bounce ideas off of each other. So the chapter events are really kind of a way to do that. I just launched another poll to kind of get an idea of some of the things that you all are looking for, which the lunch and learns that we have. So we tried doing a lunch and learn with some suppliers. We are doing them once a month. However, we had very lackluster support for that from the chapter, so we've canceled those. So while the idea of a supplier sponsored lunch and learn sounds great, y'all didn't sign up. And when a supplier is paying for our lunch, they're expecting at least 20 people in the room, if not more. So when we are pushing out these events, please sign up for them. If you are telling us that you want lunch and learns, or a supplier webinar or social events, whatever, make a very big effort to come, because the only way that we're able to really make them happen is when people show up. Because if people don't show up, we don't have the ability to get a supplier to put down $500-600 on lunch because nobody shows up. Same thing with the webinars. Like we have some really good suppliers that come in and do webinars, but the only way that they work is when people are coming in and engaging. So please be involved as much as you can. We have a lot of different avenues for these things. So if you can't make it to a lunch and learn, try to be involved with the chapter on the webinars. If you can't make it to the webinars, come to the roadshow. I hope everyone comes to the roadshow actually, because that's the best event that we can do in a year. But definitely interested in hearing your ideas. Feel free to put any ideas in the chat if you're saying other. Otherwise, I'm going to stop rambling and Tony can kind of talk through a few things while we kind of get caught up.
Well, I know on my screen here as the presenter, I could actually see the poll here, and it looks like the most people are voting for supplier sponsored lunch and learns right now. I would love to see maybe in the chat why it seems like such a disconnect from what people are looking for compared to what we've had. Because I mean, the ones that we had 6 months worth of lunch and learns and couldn't fill those spaces. If there's something that the reason why people haven't been attending them, I'd love to hear it. If it's the day of the week, if it's a location, something like that, give us a little input on that so that if we bring the lunch and learns back, we have a little guidance on what our members are looking for that rather than just saying, okay, we're going to do lunch and learns. Here's a date, here's a location, take it or leave it. This way we'll have a little idea of what
Yep.
specifically are the pain points or the go-to points for it.
And so enjoy. I see your question in here. If we'd consider mixers events at night versus cutting into our workdays, we absolutely have, and we have actually done them in the past. And we try to rotate around Central Florida because uh, when we did the where do you live question, we've got representation all the way from the Coca Coast, East Coast, I guess was what it would be called, not Cocoa, Florida. But out from Cocoa all the way down to Lakeland. That is our chapter. And so we looked at where everyone lives, looked at the heat map, and people are pretty well spread out. We have people up towards the villages. We have people down in Lake Nona. So we try to keep everything along major arteries to help avoid traffic. But if we have people that are wanting to come to the supplier social events, definitely have that. Like I've had a couple in my back pocket that I want to plan out. So definitely something we can look at. And then Christina's asking, how do I make sure she's on the mailing list? Which Tony, I think that's a good you question. How do people make sure that they're on the email list?
If you are a registered agent, you should be on the email list because I get the list directly from ASTA and I update it. If you're not, send me an email or direct message me on Facebook and I will get you on the email list.
Also, to add to that, in your ASTA profile, make sure that you have the Central Florida chapter as your assigned chapter. It's not automatic, so make sure you've gone through that step.
Right. I know somebody on here, and I might be wrong on this because I'm not a hosted agency. They put a lot of the suppliers are not preferred with my host. I think you could still sell, I might depend on the host, but I still think you could sell other suppliers even if they're not a preferred supplier.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Fox just replied as well. You can still learn, absolutely. You can learn about that particular, maybe it's a destination, or like we had Australia was our first lunch and learn, and that was a destination. But even if it's you know a cruise line that's presenting about Egypt, you can still learn about Egypt from that presentation. So
And
Yes.
I also wanted to add, if everybody wants to provide us feedback on what their interests are, their current interest, that would help as well, maybe to, if there's a, huge interest in a particular brand or a particular destination or a particular form of travel, that might help. And I saw a comment there where about the driving distances. And of course, that's what Scott was saying. We try to put them in different areas of our territory for our chapter to make it convenient at some times for some and maybe less convenient for others at other times. But then kind of it evens itself out.
Yep.
Right, Scott?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because we try to bounce around. I mean, just the same concept of the road show, but more fun. Keep it around so that people can go, whether they're in Lakeland, Villages, Orlando proper, Sanford. I mean, that's why we do the River Cruise Expo up there. It works really well
Mhm.
because they've got the restaurant there, which is a
Right.
great restaurant if you haven't been. Go next year or this year. Um,
Yeah.
but it helps people get around because as we all
Mhm.
saw just at the very beginning, we had people all over the city area, like
Right.
metropolitan area. Teresa's asking about can she be registered in North Florida since she's in Daytona or she's in Central and North Florida. So you can only be assigned to one chapter with ASTA, but you can be on both mailing lists. So you just have to decide which one you want to participate in as your home chapter, and then just tell the other chapter to add you to the mailing list. Because
And as an ASTA member, you can go to any events by any chapter in the country. You don't have to stick to your local chapter's events.
yeah, you just so happen. We are just super lucky because we have 4 chapters in the state. Most states you share a state or at least 1 or 2 other states within your chapter. So we get a lot of cross movement and even partnerships. And I saw the question earlier about us doing stuff out towards Tampa. That's its own chapter now. And so our territory ends in Lakeland, which as much as we love going out to Tampa and I love St. Pete, um, Tampa, Lakeland would be about the farthest west that we go just because of the other chapter. It's their area. So we'll leave it to them since we have such a big sloth of space already.
Yeah, so the chapter on the West Coast is the Sun Coast chapter now.
Yeah. So let's move on to chapter and national events. Go through this real quickly. Anything in yellow is a national event. All the white are the events that we're doing. We have our summer social coming up. We're still planning that. That should be for the end of July. We have our mini river cruise summit. That's September 24th at Hollowbacks. Caribbean Showcase, the national event. That is August 22nd to the 26th. We have our winter social event that'll be at the beginning of December. We did that at Andrade Kart and Games last year. We have our 2027 Roadshow. The dates for that are going to be January 27th and 28th. Unlike last year, we're not doing 4 shows. We're just going to do 2 shows this year. It's going to be in South Orlando and North Orlando. The 27th and the 28th are a Wednesday and Thursday of January. Tampa Suncoast chapter. They were our 4th show last year. They're going to be doing their own show this year. I believe that's going to be on the 29th, which is Friday. So it'll still be 3 shows in a row. Just 2 of those will be Central Florida show. And then Suncoast will be doing their show the day after. Then we have our River Cruise Expo coming up March 10th to 14th next year. That's in Vienna. And finally, 2027 ASTA Travel Advisor Conference, May 4th to the 6th. So those are the big events that we have coming up. And I mentioned earlier, I wanted to talk some numbers real quick while we still had some time. I came across this slide on ASTA's website last night. I highlighted Florida and California. Florida, we have 42,124 travel agents in this state. The next biggest is California with 34,046. And that's all down from that. Out of the 42,000, 1,303 of those advisors are part of ASTA. Our chapter has 600 members in it. As of the date of this, we're over 700 now. But when this was made, that we had over 600 people. That 1,300 is South Florida, Central Florida, Suncoast chapter, and North Florida. So we are the biggest chapter in Florida. And looking at all the numbers on this list, I think we're the biggest chapter in the United States. And I would love to see us grow. I haven't verified that number. I need to get with FASTA to verify that we do have those, are the largest chapter. But for what we do, there's so much room for us to grow and make our chapter more active and better than the others. I know South Florida, they do a lot of events and they have less people than we do on in their chapter. So I wanted to throw that out there. And then I want to talk real quickly on member benefits. So as we mentioned earlier, our FAMs, most of them are going to be ASTA member only. Let me go back to that.
Back.
So we're ASTA member only. That's a benefit of being an ASTA member. Preference to ASTA members to non-member only events. So in addition to FAMs, definitely when we do put stuff out there, ASTA members have first bid at stuff. So if it is just like a ship tour and we have 40 slots, the first ASTA members grab them. And then if we have some left over after that, we'll open it to non-members. But we definitely want to get the membership in there as part of your benefit to being a member. Discount rates to the ASTA and Central Florida chapter events. If you notice when we do events and you go online to register, your fee is less than what the non-ASTA members are paying. And that gap might increase a little more this year too. The door prizes, I mentioned that we're only going to do door prizes to ASTA members. When we do our road show, we're going to ask suppliers to be giving not their little $25 or $50 gift cards, but free cruises. We want them to be more invested in the road show and give more to the advisors. So things like that, we don't want going to just anybody that shows up. We want them going to the ASTA members. And you have a voice in how our chapter operates. Our entire board, we're totally open. Email us. We're friendly. We don't bite. If you have things you want to see, if you don't like something that's happening, if you want to see other stuff, email one of us. If you're under 45, email Scott. He has all the answers for the YPS. If you're over 90, email Diane.
Oh,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But not what I'm saying. Basically, any questions you have, email one of us. One of us is always here to help. And we
And
want,
Tony, where can they find our email addresses? I mean, we could all put them in the chat, but where is it? Is it on the website?
I could add them to the website. I have to update some of the pictures on the website this week anyway. So,
We
uh,
also have the general mailbox, don't we, that
Yeah, we
we were
do.
yes,
talking about in the last meeting?
yes. If you put contact at uh central or cflasta.org, it'll come to us. I'll throw that email in the chat.
It's already there.
No, it's already there. Good, perfect. So those are some of the things that we're doing for members, and we're going to be doing more and more stuff just for the membership as well to make it worth your money. All right, so we have a few minutes left. Do we want to go through the Q&As here?
The question that I'm seeing that I don't know if I have an answer for, but maybe you know, Tony, is if you already signed up for the conference, can you still get the discount? In my experience, they've been pretty flexible on that, right? If we email the right
Yeah,
people.
Yeah, you're
yeah,
gonna have to reach out to ASTA directly. Um, it'll probably be Pam Bonin or oh, what's her name? I'll I'll get that
And
name
that's
for you.
Juliet Treasure is asking that question. So
Okay.
Juliet.
Juliet, can you send me an email directly so I remember to get back to you on who to contact over there? And
Then there's a question on any updates on mentorship. Is ASTA, have they announced any updates on that?
they have not. The mentorship program's still going. They haven't really talked about it at this year's conference. I could find out if what the process is, if they're still accepting memberships for that or not. So, and I might answer some of these in Facebook. If everybody's part of the Facebook group, look for those answers in there because I'll check on the mentorship. And Julia, if you want to email me, I'll get you the contact information for the person over there for ASTA. Looks like there are no other open questions.
I did want to thank you those that put some comments in the chat about the different kinds of training and events. Something I noticed that was, and I agree, there was some about niche training and groups and social media, things like that. Sometimes what a lot of our events we need a supplier sponsor. So if it's something that one of our suppliers can come in or two suppliers can come in and talk about a particular niche or a particular or groups, then that works. But a general education session about niche or groups or social media, that might be more beneficial to go to the Travel Advisor Conference for that type of education. But with our lunch and learns and our evenings, social hours where we have sponsors, correct me wrong, guys, right? I mean, we need those supplier partners. So they're going to want to speak on their brand with a hint of maybe that training that you're looking for. So that's one of the things we have to keep in mind because these things, all these events do cost money for the chapter. So we try to get those supported so they're cheap for y'all to attend and we get our suppliers to pay for most of it.
And I'll add, like, with those niche trainings or social media trainings, like those very specific, not supplier type of calls, we could still do it. It would just be at a higher expense because we don't have a supplier that's going to be offsetting the expense. So if it's something that everyone is interested in, we definitely can chase that down. Just setting expectations that instead of a $10 registration fee, it might be $25, $50, depending on what the topic is. Just because we have to pay for the expert to be able to give us their time. Great thought, Amy.
So I did just check mentorship applications are closed for this year, but it does show that they're in the second year now, or third year. So next year will be the fourth year. I'm going to post a link here to the mentorship information page, so anybody wants to look that up. They do have a mentorship committee that looks like applications are open for as well, for people who want to join on that. And at the roadshow next year, some of the things that we're discussing are having some educational sessions outside of just supplier presentations. So we might have some things going on along the day as far as building your business, things like that.
We are right at the top of the hour.
Great job. Wrapped up right on time.
Yeah, good job.
Thanks everyone for coming in, and we'll see you at the events.
Yeah, and don't be a stranger. Reach out to us on Facebook or email, and please come to the events when we have them. The more we have, the more fun we have.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for being
Hope
here,
to see
everyone.
everyone at the next event.